It's Jay. Welcome to Mvskoke Radio, your weekly source for tribal and community news, interesting guests and discussions, plus a local events calendar. Alaska.
Gary's moving really fast today, guys.
Oh my God! If I sound a little ridiculous, that's why. Anyway, we've got quite a treat here on the program. First of all, an informative piece we were lent by our video producer Jared Moore. It's on some of the tax cases that's been facing our citizens, and this one is an important one.
Yes, I actually did a story. If you got the May 15th newspaper, it's in that one. If you haven't got it, you can come by our office and get it or request it. We may be able to send it to you. It's about Alicia Strobel, a citizen and employee of the Mvskoke Nation, and her fight against the tax commission. And I think Jared spoke with her lawyer, Mike Parsons, and he provides a lot of insight on what he did to help Alicia in her victory.
And that victory means whether or not she pays state income taxes, right?
It will be her getting her money back for 3 previous years, that she has paid in. And this is not just a result of McGirt. What a lot of people don't know is that this is something that tribal members could have been claiming for a long time, but since McGirt, they're allowing some to go backwards up to 3 years, and Alicia tried it after being denied, and she took it up to an appeals, and the appeals was approved, so I don't know what state she's in now.
Ecstasy, probably.
Yeah, she's happy, but the tax commission, I don't know what their response was, but they'll have an opportunity to take it a step further, court further if they wish. So.
Yeah, the tax man doesn't let go very easily. Okay, well, besides that presentation piece from our video component, we will be treated to a wonderful in-studio musician.
Yes, we have Winnie Cooper with us today, and she has recorded music for Jonathan Bond. He is a famous songwriter, and she has a song she's going to play for us, a part of her new release that will be released over 1,500 stations in the southern region of the country. Winnie's very talented, and she's actually my long-lost cousin, so I'm glad to bring her on the show today. She's very talented. A little bit quiet, but I think we can bring it out of her today.
Okay, well, yeah, we've had that challenge before.
Yes.
We can get her to laugh, maybe we can.
Hopefully, yeah.
Okay, well, enough of us. Let's get rolling with this piece on the tax battle there, and then we'll be back in the second half with Winnie Cooper.
Back to another Live Wire. I am Jared Moore, and Live Wire is the program where we take your questions from the chat. On today's program, we're going to have Mr. Mike Parks. He was the legal representation for Mvskoke Creek Nation citizen Alicia Strobel, who recently got a very favorable decision from an administrative law judge in her case to try to get back her income taxes from the state of Oklahoma. So I wanted to say, first off, Mr. Parks, thank you so much for joining me.
It's a pleasure to be with you today.
Could you kind of catch us up from how you got involved in this case to where it stands right now with Ms. Strobel's claim?
Yes, last year I was contacted by Alicia Strobel. I've been her attorney on other matters, and she asked me to represent her on her tax protest. She had filed returns with the Oklahoma Tax Commission claiming the Indian income tax exclusion. commissioners are going to grant the hearing or not. And regardless, the commissioners will have to make a final order. They can either accept or reject the recommendations of the administrative law judge. And once they make a final order, then whoever loses can appeal that to the Oklahoma Supreme Court. So that is kind of the history and the current status.
Okay. Sir, could I get you to move your camera over a little bit just to get you in the center of the frame a little bit? And while you're doing that, I'm going to catch the audience up with a little bit more information, too, that's happened since that ruling came down. Thank you so much for that. And I want to also mention to the audience, if you guys have any questions, pop them in the chat. We'll see if we can answer them. Mr. Parks can't give out legal advice, but he can kind of probably delineate some of the process here. What I wanted to mention to the audience is after... on the April 30th quarterly session for the Mvskoke Creek Nation National Council, they passed NCA 22-052, which was a law of the Mvskoke Creek Nation authorizing a lawsuit to be filed in federal court in the name of the Mvskoke Creek Nation seeking relief on behalf of the nation and Mvskoke citizens against unlawful taxation within the boundaries of the Mvskoke Creek Nation Reservation. That bill passed the council and has gone on to chief and has been signed, and we got just today a statement from the executive branch on that law that says, quote, the Mvskoke Creek Nation has authorized its Attorney General to file a lawsuit in federal court to address the Oklahoma Tax Commission's refusal to follow a decades-old law that provides for MCN citizens who live and earn income from sources within the reservation to claim an income tax exemption. It shouldn't require a federal court case for the state to respect the law, but the nation is committed to defending the rights of its citizens by ensuring the state complies with the law, end quote. That bill is... There's a link to that in the description of this video if you want to go and check out that bill. My question for you, Mr. Parks, on that is, were you aware of that legislation and were you involved in it in any way?
Is my camera better now?
Yeah, well, you're still a little bit over on the side, but it's no big deal. That's better. Thank you, sir. So were you familiar with this legislation I just mentioned?
Yes, I was informed about it. I was not involved in drafting it or passing it, but I certainly wish the chief, the National Council, the law firm they retain, the Attorney General's office, and the entire Mvskoke Creek Nation the best, and I sure hope they win.
Awesome. Well, and for the audience, too, if you read that bill, where we're at in the process for that lawsuit is, at this stage, the Attorney General's office is going to go out and they're going to find a law firm to conduct this lawsuit. And once they have that law firm picked, then they're supposed to, according to this bill, give regular updates to the National Council and the Chief's office on where the status of that lawsuit is as things develop. And we'll have those updates for you here. My question for you now, Mr. Parks, is, because I know we're probably going to have citizens and have had citizens since we ran the update on Ms. Strobel's case ask us, what do I do? What can I do? In light of this federal lawsuit that the tribe is going to be conducting, is this a time where the citizens need to go out and get a lawyer and try to challenge their income tax, or should they wait and see how this federal lawsuit plays out? What do you think about that?
My recommendation is that individual members of the Mvskoke Creek Nation go ahead and file amended income tax returns for the past 3 years. The law is clear, you can claim it for 3 years if they meet these 3 requirements. And also on future tax returns, when everyone files by the 15th of each year, they should go ahead and claim, it's referred to as the exemption or the exclusion. The instructions are with the tax returns. There's a section on the instructions. But they should go ahead and claim this on any current or future filings, as well as file amended returns for the past 3 years. which would be 2021, 2020, and 2019 if they haven't done so already. And then they have to submit with the returns a copy of their membership card, a copy of the deed or lease on their residence, and then also their W-2 statement that shows who they were employed by, or even better, a letter from their employer verifying their employment with an address within the reservation of the Mvskoke Creek Nation. They should also mail that in. Now then, if they're denied by the Oklahoma Tax Commission, they need to follow any instructions in the letter, especially the instruction about filing a protest letter within 60 days. You don't want to miss that deadline.
Okay.
So that's the best advice I can give, and people can do this on their own, or they can have their tax preparer, CPA, or their own attorney do it, and I would be happy to answer questions from anyone if they need to contact me in the future.
Okay, great, awesome. So, and for the audience too, if you Google Mike Parks, his law firm comes up, and you can go right to his website. So to get in touch with him, and I'll go ahead and put a link to his website in the description of this video. I don't think we have one in there right now, but I'll go ahead and put that in there, and that has all of his contact information in there. I guess we should kind of also hone down on who this applies to exactly. You know, you mentioned the qualifications that I believe it is that you have to be a member of a federally recognized tribe. You have to be working in the reservation and deriving income from sources on the reservation. Is that basically it?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Those are the three requirements. And the problem in the past has been that the Oklahoma Tax Commission, they won't grant this exclusion if someone works for a company other than the tribe that they're a member of. Or if they don't live on restricted or trust land. And so the vast majority of citizens of the Mvskoke Creek Nation do not live on restricted or trust land, and probably a large number don't work for the tribe. But they work for an employer that's within the reservation, which I define to be the traditional jurisdictional territorial limits of the Mvskoke Creek Nation. I believe it's the 11 counties.
I see. Okay.
Yeah, you have to meet those three requirements, or you have to pay state income tax. And one other thing I'd like to say about the legislation and the federal lawsuit that's going to be filed, that case, once it's decided, and hopefully it'll be decided in favor of the nation, then that will benefit all citizens, whether or not they filed an individual tax protest. The advice I gave earlier, it's not to solicit any business for myself. I'm just trying to give good, sound advice to the members of the Mvskoke Creek Nation. And I think it's a good idea to go at it both ways, to go at it individually, and then let the tribe pursue the federal case too.
Yeah, and I, if we're just chatting, because I agree with you 100% that this is something that, citizens need to look into for sure. My question about the federal lawsuit would be this, so would you think that this is going to be in the format of a class action type lawsuit?
I am not qualified to answer that question.
Okay.
I wish that I could, but
well, the reason
I'm just not an expert with that type of federal legislation.
Right.
I'm unable to answer that particular question.
Gotcha. Because to me, that's one of my questions when I saw the bill go through is I think that the bill is great and it's nice because it is a cost for a citizen to fight this all the way through the tax commission. And if the tax commission decides that they're going to make a case out of every single instance, right? That can be a legal cost for the individual citizen, so it's good to see the nation jumping into there. On the other hand, though, it's also, if it's a situation where there is a judgment awarded, right? From my perspective, just as a layman, normally in those situations, the tribe has had judgments in the past where the judgment is split up amongst the citizens, so all of the citizens get the same amount, right? And in this situation, if you have your income tax, because citizens are going to have different amounts of income within the state, you know, when you file with the state tax commission, it's going to be a different amount for each citizen based on what they filed on their taxes, right? So that's my question is, would a federal lawsuit like this kind of, I don't know what the word would be, like, if there was a decision in it, preempt any citizen's ability to claim for a higher amount of taxes than what they would get in a settlement? Does that make sense?
Yes, that's a very good question, and that will have to be worked out in the federal case. I will say this, and how this case is handled will be up to the attorneys that the nation hires. Mm-hmm. But I will say this. I know enough about federal procedure to offer this opinion.
Okay.
It may be that the Mvskoke Creek Nation seeks a declaratory judgment against the commissioners of the Oklahoma Tax Commission, making a legal determination that if someone proves they're a member of the Creek Nation, number one, number two, they prove that their income was earned within the reservation or jurisdiction of the Creek Nation, and then number three, that they live within the Indian Country Reservation or jurisdiction of the Mvskoke Creek Nation, then they are entitled to the exemption or the exclusion. And so, with that, if that's the way the attorneys of the nation decide to go to seek declaratory relief, then once they got that judgment, the amount of the individual award would be determined in the amended returns or the returns filed by each individual citizen.
I see.
So what I'm saying is, it is possible the federal court would not determine the amount that's due and owing, but rather would judicially determine and clarify the criteria that would have to be met.
I see. I understand now. That makes more sense, too, that they would do it that way.
I see that as a possibility, but once again, that will be up to the attorneys the nation hires.
Yeah, and it seems like a declaratory judgment would also cut down the amount of time that could be in the court without having to quibble about amounts for a judgment and et cetera, if the nation is just asking for that. But we'll have to see what actually happens. But thanks for that information.
Sure.
Amazingly, I was expecting there to be a whole bunch of questions in the chat today because this has been such a big issue, but I don't see any questions right now. I know you mentioned, you informed us of what the next steps are. The representation for Mrs. Strobel, how long do you think this case is going to go on before she actually sees the money come back to her?
Yes, I understand. I would say that we should receive a final decision by the commissioners sometime this summer. And then if an appeal is filed to the Oklahoma Supreme Court after that, we should have a decision in another couple of years. And so I'd say there's a very good chance her case will be the first case that's decided among individuals, and it should be decided, I would say, sometime in 2024. These are estimates. Mm-hmm. But then there's always the possibility because this does involve federal law and federal treaties, there's always the possibility, once the Oklahoma Supreme Court makes a decision, there could be an appeal to the U.S. Supreme Court. Now, let me say one other thing, too. Okay. I have tried 7 or 8 cases like this year. Hers is the only case I've gotten a decision
for any updates in any of the other cases. We have had, and just along the lines of what you were just speaking about, a question pop up here. I'm going to read it verbatim. Are there similar exemptions for company revenue if the company is fully owned by a member of the nation, or would income have to be individually taken?
This particular Indian income tax exclusion or exemption that is described in the instructions, it's only for individuals. It's not for companies, corporations, business entities, partnerships, LLCs, even if they are entirely owned by citizens of a particular federally recognized tribe. Unfortunately, it's not going to benefit the corporation because corporations, they have separate tax laws that govern them compared to individuals.
Yeah, and you would think also because they have to be incorporated with the state anyway, that would affect that.
Okay, that's a piece from the video division of Mvskoke Media. Thank you, Jared Moore, for that piece. We'll take a very short break and we'll be back with Ms. Winnie Cooper. So stay with us here on Mvskoke Radio, here on The Brew. Welcome back to Mvskoke Radio here on The Brew. We're going to transition to a real fun segment here, but I'm going to let Morgan Taylor take it at this point and introduce our guests.
All right, so we're sitting here in studio with Winnie Cooper. I was introduced to her through Representative Nelson Harjo, and he plays in Winnie's band at her theater in Henrietta. The Old Talladega Church is where they play on Saturday nights, and they feature other bands as well. But this is also not Winnie's first time in studio. She has recorded a song, and this is To Save Me and Gary's, that was written by Jonathan Bond and Joseph Lee Stevens, and the publisher is His Choice Music BMI. And I'm going to go ahead and let her play a part of it for you. It's a Christian song, a gospel song, but that's not all she does, so we'll just wait out, let her play this, and we'll hear some more after this. I try to act like everything's alright, when the truth is, deep inside, I'm barely hanging on, falling all apart. Why do I think I have to pretend when I can bring it all to Him? He already knows my heart. Today I broke down when no one was around. I felt so alone, but as the tears fell like the rain, I felt good today. No, I didn't hear Him call my name out loud. I didn't see Him walk out of the clouds.
Oh my God, the voice of an angel.
I know, isn't she talented? And if you go into her go watch her at her theater where she's just really super comfortable, you see a whole new side of her. And so I feel like she's kind of a little nervous today. How are you, Winnie? Do you want to talk to everybody and let them know how you're doing today?
I'm doing pretty good.
So let's talk about this song. You said it's being released, right? So that's kind of why we had to disclose all those names beforehand. So talk about your experience with this song, your experience meeting Jonathan Bond.
Well, we were having a show one night, and I was opening for the group that was coming up, and I decided to do a couple of my originals, and Jonathan had heard me sing, and he really liked the way that I expressed my music, and so he decided to give me a chance with this song.
And he's from somewhere else, right? He's from like Tennessee or something, or he's big in the country or gospel music scene, right? And so what was that like being in his eyes? He was like, I want her to play this song of mine, and he's written so many. How was that experience for you?
Well, I really didn't know what to think about it. I haven't really had an opportunity like this before, and when he gave me a little sample of it, I just knew that this was a song that I could really do.
And I know that you even write some gospel music yourself, and so being a writer and playing somebody else's song, what's that kind of transition like? Is it something you enjoyed or something you would do again?
For sure.
Yeah, you would do it again. And so what about, I know that me and Winnie are like somewhat cousins. Her great-grandma and my grandma are sisters. Okay, so she's the Creek too, but I don't know any language, do you? I mean, I know a little bit of words, but I don't know.
Yeah, a little bit.
You know a little bit. Would you be consider singing in the song in language or writing a song in language?
If one day I am able to learn the full language, I would sure try.
I know, right? Well, I know my grandma and I know your grandma. I know they can speak it, but I can't hardly understand them when they do it. So at your when is this song going to be released?
It's still in progress.
It's still in progress, like they're doing editing or what kind of, like editing stuff?
Yeah.
And so you said over 1,500 different stations, correct?
Yes.
And what area is that, like the southern region?
I'm going to say probably all over the United States.
All over the United States, just anywhere?
Yeah.
And so what other kind of stuff are you into as far as your writing and style goes?
I'm not really sure on genre specific. That's why I kind of go with the indie label. I've written some country music, some folk music, a little bit of blues. It's just a variety, really.
And I know that you said you had some big performances in your short amount of time, performing live and stuff. So what has been some big events for you?
I've been to Disney World, opening shows in Branson and Nashville, and that was just part of my experience growing up around the music scene. I was part of Oklahoma Kids and different various singing groups that traveled a lot.
You had one name that I recognized was Vince Gill, right?
Yeah. Yeah,
and you had opened for him. How did you get in that spot?
Okay, so one year I was doing the FFA state convention, and I had sang, I think it was At Last by Etta James, and I don't think I placed, but Some guy called my FFA teacher trying to get a hold of me. He was needing entertainment for a big auction sale, like for cattle and bulls, and they needed some entertainment. And I really was just like, okay. I didn't know it was such a big event because I've never been anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
And we didn't find out who I was opening for until last minute. And when we found out it was Vince Gill, it was kind of like, oh my gosh, I never would have expected to get an opportunity like that out of an FFA convention.
Right, that's kind of what I'm thinking. One day you're at the FFA convention, next day you're performing in front of Vince Gill.
You're opening for cattle.
Yeah, that's better than for a prize or place to me, you know. So what would you consider some of your inspirations for singing?
It's actually kind of weird. Like, I listen to a lot of Aretha Franklin, so it's not really my particular style that I'm doing right now, but I really look up to Aretha Franklin.
Oh, do you really?
Yeah.
I know Winnie is married. She has a husband. His name's Tyler, and he had mentioned, he said, you got to catch Winnie when she's doing her Aretha alone. I said, I will try. You have to let me know when that goes on because her voice just carries. What are some of the things that you're looking forward to in your career? Like, what's upcoming for you? What have you been doing as far as events go?
I'm really working on getting some more music recorded and released. I would say right now releasing the song I Felt God Today. That's what I'm working on right now. I don't think I have any upcoming shows besides the theater for now.
Okay, and so what is your role in the theater? Do you kind of want to touch on that really quick?
My role in the theater is the music ministry portion of it. That's what I do.
And y'all just typically do music, right? Like just some gospel singing, free play.
Well, that's what I do,
Mm-hmm.
but my parents are working on a food distribution program for people in need. We just did a auction a couple weeks ago and raised the money to get a food truck, so that's something that's getting closer and closer to becoming a thing in our town.
So I know that at your theater you play with your band, and that's what Representative Harjo, he's the drummer, right?
Yeah.
Of your band, and then you got a couple other people there. You're kind of like the only female I noticed when I went a couple Saturdays ago in the band. And so you're like the only singer, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you also played some, when I was there, some songs that were very touching that she had written that were gospel, and some weren't. They were just really touching, and her voice just is really resonates within you. Would you like to play one of those songs, whatever one you want right now, a part of it?
Sure. I'll do my original, He Left the 99 for One.
I love that one. Let's do it.
In the mirror, said, what are you running from? Just put on a smile for everyone. It's not a day that I didn't try flush the sorrow down. With so many empty bottles, anything to get me alone. Sometimes the truth hurts, and that's okay. I look to you, you saw my mistakes. And though I can't erase what I have done, it doesn't matter, 'cause I'm forgiven. The battle's already won. I've already overcome, because Jesus is my healer. He left the 99 for one.
She goes to a different place when she sings. Where does that song take you, Winnie?
It takes me to that point in my life when I just really gave up on everything, and I was struggling with alcoholism, and I just kind of sat down one day and I wrote this story.
And when we had talked before, you said your original intent was you kind of wanted to write it about somebody else.
Yeah.
And then how did you make that relation to yourself?
I didn't really just want to come out and say that I was struggling
Right.
that bad, but I wanted to write a song about awareness, and that's kind of what I normally try to do anyways. I've struggled with depression and anxiety from a young age, and I really like to write music to where I can advocate to people with the same kind of issues.
Mhm. And for some people, it's hard to use your words in conversation. And so it's like music, one of those, is an outlet for you to kind of say the things you want to say.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And also, when I had spoken to Winnie prior to this radio show, we had talked about our family and how not just our family, but Native Americans are really susceptible to some of those abuse, drug abuse, alcohol abuse, depression, anxiety, things like that. And, it's just something that we should definitely, as Native Americans, be aware of. And I'm glad that you can make music about it. What are some of the ways that you try to incorporate your culture?
There's some songs that I do that I try to put more of a native sound to it. There's this way that I do I'll Fly Away, which is a common song that you find in the hymnal book, and I took it and I made it my own.
I liked when you played that one because you played that the Saturday night I was there too. So
Yeah.
maybe in a little bit, can you play that one for a second? Because that one was really good. She does covers too, and they're really good. They're interesting. When you add your own twist to it, I love stuff like that. I love when artists do stuff like that. That's one of my main like YouTube searches is like covers. You know what I mean? So, how do you kind of add your own twist on an old school song?
Well, I try to be different sometimes. I mean, I'm kind of different in my own way as it is. But I really like taking some songs and just really making them my own.
Is that like a fun process? Or is it
I'm the kind of person that just kind of plays what I feel.
Yeah.
So.
How did you learn to play guitar?
Well, my dad tried to teach me at a young age, and he's not really the best teacher, so I kind of gave it up until one day I decided to teach myself how to do it because there was some other kids in the competitions and stuff. Most of them tried to have their own instrument, like a guitar or a keyboard, and I just taught myself some basic chords and went from there.
Question: have you ever thought about like doing a voice show, like American Idol or anything like that?
I've been to several auditions for American Idol, America's Got Talent, The Voice.
Have you?
Yeah. I think the last time I went to an audition was in 2019. It's not really an easy process doing all of that, so I just kind of
are the competitions
away from it.
Really stiff, really hard?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it seems like you're doing good without the show, but I was just curious if you had or not. Like, be like a little Henrietta Carey Underwood or something, you know? But, so what kind of other projects do you do that you're into? You bead, right? You do some beading. Anything else?
Not really.
And you sell your beading?
Yeah.
How do you sell that, on Facebook or?
Yeah, I have a Facebook page. It's called Beaded by Winnie, and I'm not really a professional at it. I'm kind of like teaching myself how to do it, but I make some earrings and some necklaces, and yeah, that's pretty much it.
Is that fun for you too?
Yeah, it's a good way for me to clear my head and relieve stress.
Yeah, that's a very cultural aspect of it. So you know the festival's coming up, the Creek Nation Festival. Have you thought about trying to perform at the festival one year?
I think somebody had tried to get in contact with me about the gospel singing.
Mm-hmm.
So I think I'm going to be doing that.
You are this year?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. When is that?
The 25th.
The 25th you'll be there singing? Oh, my gosh. You guys, Winnie's going to be at the festival. I'm so glad we got you first. So what kind of, like, audiences are you kind of used to performing in front of? Like, big or just all kinds?
I've had several different types of audiences. I would say from hundreds to only 3. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, when I was there a couple Saturdays ago, it was just a couple of us. But she performs like I feel like you probably perform the same every time, don't you? Just putting it out there, it just takes you to somewhere else when you sing. So Friday, do you know what time did you say you'll be performing? Oh, it's Saturday. It's Saturday, Gary.
Okay, what I meant in my little note was this program will be live on Friday morning from 10 to 12. And I would just wonder if you might consider stopping by and sharing a song with us during that show.
On the 24th. 10 to 12, if you're not busy.
Sure.
Yeah, I'll text you. You can text me. I got Winnie's number. I'll let you know. I got Gary's number. I can coordinate this. So do you want to play that song really quick for us?
Sure. I'll just play a little of it. So glad morning when this life is over, I'll fly away to a home on God's celestial shore. I'll fly away. I'll fly away, oh glory, I'll fly away. When I die, hallelujah, bye bye, I'll fly away. Ooh, I'll fly away. Ooh, I'll fly away.
So good. So good. And we got her mother in here, Teresa Cooper, and I'm going to let her kind of holler at you guys about the theater, what they do on Saturday nights, how to get in touch, and how to get in touch with Winnie if you want to need a performer, or if you guys are you guys are starting a youth group kind of thing, right? If you guys are looking for somewhere to go and have fun and have a group night and stuff like that. So here's Teresa.
Hi. The theater is open at 7 o'clock every Saturday evening. We have different groups come in, different genres. We have country gospel, southern gospel. We also have bluegrass come in. And occasionally we'll have Christian comedians come in. And we always have a good time when they come.
Oh, I bet that's fun. What's your contact?
My contact number is 918-707-0343. They can also find us on the Facebook, of course, under Talladega Hills Music Theater. And you can reach us at www.talladegahillsmusictheater.com. I know that's a mouthful, but...
And this is the old church across from the hospital.
Yes, the old Talladega Hills Baptist Church. We kept the name because we felt like that was, it was supposed to stay as Talladega Hills. And, yeah.
Winnie's the actual owner of it.
Yes, Winnie is the owner of it. We sold our house and we bought this church and turned it into a theater. We're grooming Winnie and Tyler to take it over one day. So yeah, it's hers.
So what plans do you got, Winnie? I'm gonna throw this back.
Okay.
What plans do you got as you are being groomed? You got your youth night coming up. You want to talk about that?
Well, the youth night, we're going to have one of the kids that I used to do competitions with. She was in Oklahoma Kids, and she has been to New Mexico doing different shows there and all around. She's been nominated for an award for her song.
So she's just going to kind of talk about her journey and things like that?
Yeah.
And what is youth ages, like 12 to 24, something like that?
Yeah.
Like young adult?
Yeah.
Yeah, entering teenage years. And so are there any other kind of things that you guys are doing at the theater that you'd like to shed light on or talk about? Not at the moment?
Not at the moment.
Just every Saturday night, huh?
Yeah.
And it was a lot of fun. Oh, your band. What's your band's name again?
Mended by Grace.
Mended by Grace. And you guys are the main performers at the theater, right? And so you said you were looking for some talent to join your band, correct?
Yes.
What exactly are you looking for?
I'm looking for a dedicated bass player and probably somebody that can do some rhythm guitar behind me, and I think that's about it.
And your dad had mentioned to me that he would like them to have some Native American heritage or something like that, as all the current players do, right?
Yeah.
They're really Native American centralized around. The theater is centralized around, kind of supporting Native Americans and Native Americans' music and things like that, and which is a great platform. We don't have enough of that, so enough representation in the music industry, and I think that Winnie's going to put us there. I think she's going to put us on the map. What do you think, Gary?
I think so. Nobody's going to be able to ignore this. This is so good. I mean, we've gotten people coming in from, time to time, but she just absolutely floored me there. Oh, just a gorgeous voice. And I hope you get more chance to share that. And as I say, the invitation to join us on that live Mvskoke radio at the festival is open. So just come on by anytime between 10 and 12 and we'll make room for you.
You'll be here, right, at the studio?
No, we'll probably be out there.
Out there? All right.
On the festival grounds. So all of our listeners, please come by and say hi, at least.
And tune in, yeah.
Let's have her tune in. We got about 3 or 4 minutes left in the program. Let's have her take us out with another song.
I had one more question, Miss Winnie. Is there any place that you have music uploaded and recorded right now?
I do have 2 songs released. They are country songs. One of them is called If You Don't Mind, and the other one is called Never Meant to Be.
And those are on YouTube?
Yeah, you can find them on YouTube.
All right. We're going to give her a second here to let her choose a song. I told her to just bring 2 or 3, so this is the extra one she's about to pick.
She can play one of those that she's already played again if she wants.
Actually, let me get this real quick.
Musicians always take their own time.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. If Jesus comes tomorrow to spend some time with you, would you answer all his questions or lie to hide the truth? Would you welcome him with open arms or even let him in? If Jesus comes tomorrow, what then? If Jesus calls your number, could you leave today? Are you ready to lay down your worldly goods and walk away? Would it take a month of Sundays just to tell him of your sin? Jesus comes tomorrow. What then? If the sky turns black as midnight in the middle of the day, and somehow you knew that Jesus would soon be on his way, would you have to beg forgiveness, or could you reach out and take his hand?
You've been listening to Mvskoke Radio. Join us again next week for more local, tribal, and community news and updates. Madam.